Hello from Bali. This is a podcast pigeon of peace where we do discuss awesome skills of troubleshooters. Watch, listen, and check the description below for the details. Let's talk about verification and let's start with the definition.
I learned this word from American guys. They were working on the underwriting process and they were installing this in some banks in Alexandria, in Egypt. And I was working on the same project, but from another point of view, how to make operational excellence. And suddenly I learned this word verification. And I was thinking, what does this mean? And suddenly I found that all people on the credit conveyor were divided for small groups of 3 people, and they were called like simple verifier 1, simple verifier 2, and final verifier. And they were working in a such mode. Simple verifier 1 was checking information about applicant, which was concerning his home and his documents. Simple verifier 2 was responsible for checking information about work, about HR department, about bookkeeping, and about salary. And final verifier, he was responsible of combining these marks and granting the credit if was possible. So verifier or verification, this process or man who will try to understand is it truly given information or it is fraudster.
And when we speak about verification, especially in the banking, what kind of methods exist which would allow to collect different pieces of the data? Because sometimes, like something that was provided might not really be true or might be like a half true. So how to verify what was presented?
Usually I will tell that if you will give me example, you will kill the science in our conversation. But now we're talking in English, and for me it's much easier to picture something like an example. I'll give you one. It was a usual case, and one man came to the shop to take a credit for quite fancy photo camera. It was expensive one, something like 10 grand. And suddenly he was refused and he was making a big noise. And the owner of the shop, he addressed me and in the special letter, we have a customer, very good one, and he was able to pay by cash. And I was asking him, maybe you will take a credit, and this man was agreed to take this loan, and suddenly you refuse. What is the reason? And I was saying, okay, if it is a very important client, I will make an investigation, and I was personally do this research. And what I found that this man was father of 2 boys, and those 2 boys were taking satellite phone in different shops and never paid. And when I was talking with this man, he was very angry at the first moment, and suddenly he realized that all of his sons were fraudsters. And it was quite a good example about verification. Any insurance company, any bank, and some other companies, they collect database. And for example, now I will need your help, Maxim. For example, I am going to take a loan, and then I would be asking who could give you a credit. But this term of credit I am using like to be collateral, поручитель. Is it okay to say collateral?
Could be something like this, or the person who would guarantee the return of the loan.
Okay. For example, I came to the bank and I will give your data, and then someone else will try to give your data. And for example, if you will be responsible for 5 credit, the next one person who will also give you the information will be refused. So after 1, 3 or 5 years, a lot of people which would live quite close to the bank branch would be in database. It would be very easy to check them. And several more example. For example, we work in some ABC limited company, and you will take credit, I will take credit, or we live on the same street. And then in the bank, verifiers will find that ABC limited company has too many debtors, должников. Debtor?
Yeah, could
Debtors.
say like that.
So bank will know that on this street, on this building, in this city, in this company, too many fraudsters. And next one will not be will not be granted by a loan.
And this has actually reminded me another skill where we, like look into the 360 feedback. And you also mentioned that there is like a 720 feedback. So same probably goes or could be applied to the data when, like we might be looking into different dimensions, and we also might be asking around about the person, about their surroundings. And I do believe this example with the father and the boy is also a good one, because those are like relationships or links. So how the banks or maybe any other institutions, which we probably will discuss slightly later, would collect this 720 information as well.
Let's give me an example about Switzerland. I was in Switzerland for a very long project, and I was asking some bank to pay a visit. As you know, in some small villages in Switzerland, bank would open just for customer. So I could come and it would be open like 15 minutes before me and will be closed after 15 minutes when I left. And I came, it was a very old man in a small room, but he was able to do any operation. And I take my money, which was sent from Ukraine, and I ask him, do you give loans? And suddenly with a sad smile, he will say, I couldn't grant you a loan because you are a foreigner. I say, no. I also work in a bank, and we have so-called consumer sales finance. Do you do this? And he say, yes, we do. It takes us like 2 weeks. And I ask, how long? We usually do it less in 1 hour, whole process from your application to your money on your card. And I ask, but how you verify this information about your neighbors? And he told me, we use 3 call methods. First verification would be with a school teacher, second with doctor, and third with priest. And I was thinking, wow, what's a country? What's a method? What's a method of verification?
Well, it's fine enough. I mean, maybe even some random fact, which is might not be so relevant. I do believe in Switzerland there is a specific word that would let someone express regret that another person took an airplane instead of like going by bus. But then going back to the verification, we also might be having a different type of the customers who, let's say, slightly higher on the level of the, like of their wealth, and not only them could be verified when they just want to become a client or do the transaction, but maybe even their capital also should be going through this process of the verification. So what might be specifics here?
Let me give an example exact from now. Today, I was invited to a very strict meeting, and it was in a very specific place, very far from the city of the Moscow downtown. And when I came, there were 3 lines of defense. First, there were people with fire guns, I don't know how to say, автоматы.
Weapons.
With weapons, and they search me. They open my handbag. They see under my, I don't know how to say, подкладка,
Inner layer.
inner layer of my jacket, and so on. And then I was passed out. Second, it was another line, and people checked my passport, and they make several photo of me. And last line, I was writing my signature on several documents, and one of them was NDA, second was about something. And you know, when I came to the last line, it was a request to all invited people. There were 7 of them, and chairman asked, who invite this person? And suddenly my employee, my customer, how to say, мой заказчик?
Customer or client.
My client, yes, correct, thank you. My client says, I invite Oleg and I am responsible for all his behavior for next 10 years. And I was so impressed, 10 years.
Wow, I do believe this is actually quite like impressive. And when it comes to maybe like a different part of the verification, there's also might be certain things like that going from customer to customer, for example, transactions. So whether there is any verification rules or procedures applying to this thing, like when we need to confirm that, okay, this is exactly, like piece of information that was passed from one person, went through this path and achieved this person exactly at the way it was sent.
You know, sometimes verifiers change the rules because they're afraid that someone would used to those rules and will go through the, I don't know how, вот через сеть проходит, как говорят? Go through the
Routing.
net. Routing for the net.
Avoid the net.
Avoid, yes, correct. Avoid the net. And for example, when you look to the people who will try to immigrate to another country, sometimes you will ask them, do they have some like property, like flat or house? For example, if they will say, okay, I will work abroad, you will say, okay, which documents you have? And give one more example. When, for example, we were given those loans, we were asking, why are you buying such a big TV, like 43-inch? But usually we were making especially wrong. So, for example, Maxim would buy TV of size 53-inch, but I would say like 43-inch. Or, for example, you will buy a ticket to Bangkok, and I will say you, why are you buying a ticket to Manila? And usually fraudsters, they do not know exactly what they are buying because they were asked to buy tickets or to buy TV. So sometimes there are several type of questions. First, which contain mistake. Second, something about your profession. And third one, about something about your family.
It actually reminds me of one interesting case when I was passing the Singapore border, and sometimes you also need to go through the officer, while sometimes you might be going through the automated gates. So when I did not have this specific ID, I was going through the officer, and they checked like everything, and I already was passing. So then they said like, "Hey, Maxim," and I turned back, and they said like, "Happy birthday," and I said, "Yes, thank you very much," because like if I would remember my birthday, actually it was exactly the day. So I was thinking, okay, like I need to react fast and like, like be, like smiling and et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, sometimes you also maybe have some sort of like a post verification. Then the next question will be, like sometimes we also might be getting different pieces of information. It might not be even, like finance related, but, like it could be about relationship, about the banking, even, like in our work. So how to go about those cases? What kind of framework, like a general one, apply in order to make sure whatever you got is like whatever was declared?
You have two choices. First choice, to think that you will present all your documents and your face and your smile and everything goes smooth and you will be a lucky one. But another side, as I always try to remind you, you should prepare your past to enter your future. For example, you should write articles, you should visit conference and take a notes. Выступать, to take a notes?
Present
To
or
present.
perform.
To perform something from the thing. And third is to write books. If you will say, for example, I know this girl for a couple of years, you would be asked by some officer, okay, I will need 15 of your photo as a couple in different location. And also I would need, for example, like 6 tickets you were flying in your also vacations, and this is just exact case. Or for example, you will be trying visiting some country and you couldn't explain your purpose. You would be asked by some verifier officer to write small essay what you will do when you will arrive. So you will be without any papers, and you should remember your hotel, you should remember name of your guide, you should remember name of the company which would carry you from airport to the hotel and so on.
Well, I do believe for this you need a lot of, like different skills that in School of Troubleshooters are being taught. And my last question will be how knowing about verification would help to make this world a better place.
Maxim, it's very strange, but you are honest person and you never think about verification, but you under this verification more often than you think. For example, okay, you know about customs. Okay, you know about when you're trying to apply for a job, but some clients will make verification of your words. For example, when I enter huge project, I always being asked to prepare some small presentation, and people are asking, give us exact details, what you have done, what your result, and do not give us phones. We will not use them because you will give us people who like you and they will give you credit. We will ask someone we know, and this is special associations of security officers and so on. And if you have a bad relationship with your former employee, or with some neighbors, they will know and you will be refused to take part in the project. So it's very strange. You should always think that you have a white coat and you wouldn't allow to put some пятна, spot on it.
And we review the skill of verification and how it could be helpful for you stay in peace.